The new raid is finally here, and I'm here to help you survive this Eclipse event like the champion you know you truly are. For those of you who have completed Gauntlet Onslaught already, you'll find a lot of this similar but different. New mechanics, new tough enemies to deal with, so let's get right into it. A quick note though, I will be going over this in depth like you've never played Gauntlet Onslaught before, just so any new players can also take this guide and help them through the Eclipse event. Just a small side note here, if you're trying to complete this during the weekend that contest is active for the emblem, you'll want to be over at least 55,100 power, as that is the recommended power for each encounter. Our first encounter is Break-In. You'll want to bring in a character that can deal with spread and impact Sheikahs, along with solar and void shields. Some good recommendations are Yolder, Gwyn, Wolf, and if you have the Gallows LMG, Estella is a very strong pick. For an example of the setup for the current #1 team as of making this, they were running 4 Estellas with Gallows and 2 Gwyns with Octant Riot Dispersers. When the encounter starts, you will split into 2 teams of 3, one team going left and another team going right. You will have a ton of adds to deal with, most importantly, an Impact Sheikah, a Brigadier, a Captain holding a key, and 1 Servitor. After clearing the first wave of adds and finishing off the key holder, one of your teammates on each side should grab one of these keys and then head to the bridge in the center to get ready to cross over to the other side of the encounter. While they're doing this, the other 2 people will defeat the servitor that spawns above this platform, which will then activate said platform. One person from each team now needs to stand on this platform to start building the bridge in the middle, allowing your team members to cross. Keep in mind, new to this encounter is a debuff called Charged Up. You'll receive stacks of this debuff while standing on the plate, and if you reach more than 10 stacks, you'll die. So the play here is for each group of 2 on the left and right to rotate on and off the platforms with your partner once your stacks get too high. While these 2 teams of 2 are standing on platforms and building the bridge, the 2 teams of solo players with their keys will need to cross the bridge with this battery that spawns near the bridge. Just like the plates, this battery will start giving you stacks of Charged Up while holding it, so you'll need to juggle it with your key holding partner till you can make it across the bridge and insert it into the door, allowing you to open the final room. Once in this room, you and your partner will need to split left and right and use your keys to unlock the barriers protecting these vandals. Finish them off and take their Scorch Cannons. You need to use these to break the 2 locks. Keep in mind, this mode, unlike the base version, has more locks. There is a lock on the door and a second lock on the wall to the right of the door, so each rotation you will need to shoot 2 locks. After that, it's just repeating the same thing 2 more times with just a few small changes. Instead of 2 people rotating plates on the spawn side during the second rotation, now the 2 people across the bridge need to stand on their platforms and rotate off with the people on the platforms at the start of the encounter to help 2 more players with keys bring their battery across the bridge, get the Scorch Cannons, and shoot 2 more locks. The final rotation is once again the same, but this time the last 2 players on the spawn side have less adds to deal with, and the 4 people on the far side of the bridge need to rotate on their platforms to help the final key holders across the bridge, grab their Scorch Cannons, and shoot the last 2 locks. Once all 6 locks have been shot, you are almost there. All you need to do now is defeat the Spread Sheikahs and Yellow Bar Heavy Shanks, and you have finished the first encounter. Now, on to the Menace Above, probably the most complicated of the 3 encounters. This is just a quick message saying, hey, did you know that only 8.2% of you guys watching are subscribed to the channel? Why is that? Why don't you go ahead and click that subscribe button if you're enjoying what you're watching. I got more character builds coming, and guides, and just fun videos. So hit that subscribe button, and I thank you for watching. The Menace Above includes Rapid Fire Sheikahs, Spread Sheikahs, Void, and Arc Shields. Some good characters for this are Estella, Gwyn, Ningfei, and Wolf. For an example of the top team at the moment, they cleared this using 3 Estellas, 2 Ningfeis, and a Gwyn. At the start of this encounter, you will be given a little mini tutorial for some of the mechanics in this segment. This monitor will show 2 symbols. When this first dot appears, you will get your first symbol, and then when the second dot appears, you will get your second symbol. Input these symbols on the monitors over here in the proper order, and the door to your right will open and you will gain access to 2 batteries. Holding these will allow you to pass through the electric barrier, but just like the first encounter, you will get stacks of charged up, so make sure to juggle them between your teammates while you carry them to the back of the elevator here, where you need to deposit them. After you deposit these 2 batteries, the encounter really starts. You'll split up into 3 teams, a team of 4 who stays in this main area, and 2 solo players who will enter the teleporters on the left and right side of the room. The 4 players in the main area will need to deal with waves of adds and rapid fire Sheikahs, while the 2 solo players inside need to deal with a smaller group of adds. The goal of the solo players is to enter the correct code on their monitor to allow the 4 players on the outside to start entering their code. After a short time in the solo room, your monitor will light up, this time with 4 small circles and a big circle in the center. These small circles don't matter too much for your inside player when you are trying to speedrun. All you need to do is watch for the order in which your shapes appear in. So for example, in this video, my first symbol is this bug looking thing and then a large circle. I would then head to the back of the room and enter these symbols in the order they appear on the monitors in the back. The biggest thing to take note of here is that you and your other inside player cannot enter your codes at the same time, or it will mess you up and cause you to die. So have one player put their code in, and then when they're done, let the other solo player know that they can enter their code after that. Once both codes for the inside players are inputted, the outside players will then have to input their own code. The codes on the inside and outside match, so your inside players can call these out to help your outside players move faster, but you don't have to do this if you don't want to. For the outside players, you need to enter all 4 of these codes in the correct order as they appear. There are 2 monitors in the main room, one on the left side and one on the right side, bearing the same setup with 2 small circles, 1 big circle, and then 2 small circles. Each monitor will show 2 symbols timed to the smaller circles lighting up. So say the bug symbol appears during the first circle lighting up, and the big circle appears when the second circle lights up. The third circle lighting up shows a small circle, and the 4th circle lighting up shows a big triangle. The outside team then needs to find the monitors with these symbols and input them in the order they showed up during the sequence. So for this example, it would be bug, then big circle, then small circle, and finally big triangle. This needs to be done fairly quickly, so make sure the 4 team members in the main room are all at their monitors and ready. If you've done everything correctly, the 4 players will be teleported into the 2 solo rooms, making 2 teams of 3 in each solo room. You now need to defeat a yellow bar with a scorch cannon, shoot that cannon at the 4 locks, allowing yourself to grab this battery, and continue on forward past the electric barricades. Keep in mind, just like before, you'll start gaining stacks of charged up and need to juggle this between your teammates before you get more than 10 stacks. After moving forward through a few barricades and hallways, you will enter a final room. And here you need to defeat a spread Sheikah and 1 of the Scorch Cannon Vandals in the back to blow up the 2 locks and leave through this teleporter to get back to the main room. Once back in, take your battery to the back of the elevator again and insert it into the elevator. Once both teams of 3 have returned and inserted their batteries, you have completed the first round. That's honestly it. After depositing the batteries, 2 heavy yellow bar shanks will appear, you'll need to kill them, and then you just repeat the whole process one more time. It's exactly the same the second time through. Once you've finished your second round, the doors to the elevator unlock, and you've finished the second encounter. Congrats! Now it's on to the final boss of the Eclipse Raid. Here we are, the final encounter, Izakis Tabernacle. This encounter includes piercing Sheikahs, impact Sheikahs, solar, and void shields. I would recommend Estella, Tan2, Umeko, and Gwyn for this encounter. The top teams clears at the moment are using 3 Estellas, 1 Umeka, 1 Tan2, and 1 Gwyn, which is the same setup we used and were able to one-phase the boss. Once the encounter starts, you'll split into 2 teams of 3, clearing out the adds and piercing Sheikahs that spawn on the left and right sides of the room. After dealing with them, Izakis will jump to the back left side of the room, and your whole team should move over here. I highly recommend that you stand up on a high platform like where I am in the video to avoid Izakis' electric walls of death that he will send out in waves of 3. If you aren't high up, you will need to jump over every single one of these or take high damage. After defeating the piercing Sheikahs, you will notice this little buff on the ground that you can pick up. Wait to pick this up. Eventually some overseers will spawn on the wall behind Azakis, and you will need to have this buff to defeat them. Picking it up will give you 20 seconds of ether osmosis to deal with these overseers. Once that timer has run out, you will then be given a debuff of oversaturation, which will stop you from picking up anything for a whole 1 minute. That includes more buffs or scorch cannons. After dealing with the overseers and some adds, 2 yellow bar scorch cannon vandals will appear, and they will need to be defeated. Their scorch cannons picked up and used to break the 2 locks next to Azakis. Picking these up will also give you a minute's worth of oversaturation, so you will need to juggle these with other players when it comes to picking up the scorch cannons. After accomplishing this, Azakis will jump to the back right side of the room, and you will need to repeat this process of shooting the overseer, defeating the vandals, and blowing up the locks one more time. Once you have done all of this, he will then return to the center of the room, and your group should wait on this side here for an impact Sheikah to spawn. Have your Gwen or other impact character break their shield and quickly defeat him to unlock a teleporter behind him. One player will then grab the ether osmosis buff and enter this teleporter to be sent to a new area. There is also a second Sheikah and teleporter on the other side of the room if you wish to send 2 people into this new area, but I advise against it since it's pretty easy to solo and will save your main team a lot of trouble. Once your player or players are teleported into the solo room, the remaining players will stand outside defeating the waves of ads sent their way and using their ether osmosis buffs to deal with the overseers that appear on the walls while avoiding the missiles Azakis rains from the sky on them. During this whole endeavor, the player on the inside will be met with their own problems. The first one is why we grabbed the osmosis buff before entering here. A single overseer on the wall that needs to be dealt with. If you forgot to grab your buff or just don't feel like it, you can hide from and avoid this overseer. Alongside that, you'll get a small group of ads in a yellow bar servitor that needs to be taken care of. Shortly after they're defeated, a picture of the boss will appear on the screen with a piece of his body glowing. Hold your ping button to bring up this selection wheel and pick the part that matches what you see on screen to let your whole fire team see this call out. If you entered here solo, you'll need to travel down this hallway, defeat the second yellow bar servitor, and then ping the second marked weak point to the rest of your team as well. Once your main team sees these marked pings, they can use that information to shoot the 2 correct weak points on the boss to stun him. Doing this will teleport any players in the solo area back to the main room, and shortly after, damage phase will commence. Put everything you have into this boss, making sure to drop a damage well, healing rift, and using Umeko to debuff to deal the most damage, and hopefully you can one-phase the boss. If not, you'll get one more attempt to repeat this whole process for one more damage phase before the boss enrages and wipes you. If you are able to shrink his health bar to nothing, you will fell this beast and earn yourself some great loot, including some Lumina Leaves and a choice Ingram for one of the raid exotics. And if you're able to do it before the leaderboard rush event ends on Sunday morning, you will also net yourself this sweet exclusive emblem. And hopefully, this guide helped you clear the Eclipse Raid. And if it did, feel free to leave a like, a comment, subscribe. Post down below if you did clear it and what your clear time was. I'm interested to know. I really hope this helped. I tried to make it as clear and concise and informative as I possibly could. So thanks again, and I hope you have a supernova day.